Hello everybody, it's me, Ivy, aka the main protagonist, and I can't breathe. I don't mean that literally, I am breathing, I am living, but barely after that amazing episode of Doctor Who Flux. To say that I enjoyed this episode is such an understatement, I am still I'm shaky, my heart is beating, I'm just so excited because that was such a thrill ride and it was so great, and I'm just okay, I will get my feelings together so I can make this video and talk about my thoughts. I thought this episode was so interesting, like the premise that they got transported all to the Crimean War and then they got separated, and from the start, before this episode aired, I was like, it would be so interesting if they started rewriting history and we saw the revision of history, like the consequences of that. And we didn't see that in full, but we did see them talk about, hey, history is changing, now the Sontarans are here, Russia isn't here. So I thought that was so cool, and it was so cool also because I wanted it to happen, and so I saw it and I was just like, yes. I was so happy. And it was so interesting to have that kind of plot twist of no, Russia, doesn't exist, it's Sontar, and that was just so cool. So I love that element right off the bat. I also liked in general how this episode kind of mainly focused on the Sontarans and a little bit with Swarm at the end, but mainly the Sontarans. I know I talked about last time the first episode was set up and there was kind of a lot going on and it was hard to keep track of all this stuff. So I really like how it seems that every episode of Flux are kind of taking one aspect that they focused on in the first episode and expanding on it and showing that. I really like that focus because it gives more time for the story and it's just not as chaotic as I thought it would be. So I'm very glad that they decided to focus on just kind of one thing throughout all these different episodes. I feel like I should mention, because in my last review I talked about how I really liked the scene with the acid lake, so I should mention one of my favorite scenes from this episode, which is the shot and just kind of that scene of the British soldiers fighting the Sontarans. That shot of the two massive armies going up against each other was just so cool, and I loved that shot, and I loved seeing just how hopeless the situation was against the Sontarans. A lot of people talked on Twitter about how the Sontarans are often kind of played for a laugh, and so it was nice to see that kind of turn on its head and they're these really dangerous, really threatening guys again. I loved that. Probably one of the shining things from this episode for me was Dan, the man with a pan, or more accurately, a wok. Dan was so funny this episode. There were times when I literally, I'm not actually very reactive when I watch stuff. I'm usually, if I am reactive, it's something that I'm typing, but when those big moments happen or when there's something really funny, I tend to be, and I started laughing so hard when he was like, it's a pan-fried Sontaran and I'm gonna walk right out of here. I lost it. I love Dan's character. I love the humor that he brings to the show, and I love that so much. He was so funny. What wasn't funny though was Azur? Yeah, and Swarm. Okay, those guys are so terrifying. Every time they're on screen, I literally I would hold myself, and my heart was just beating so fast and I just felt so tense because just that presence that they bring to the screen. I mean, both the actors do a great job, the makeup is excellent, and just their delivery of everything just works together to create this absolutely terrifying performance, and I love it. I love that feeling I'm there and that I'm feeling that threat and that I'm facing that threat myself, because they just immerse you in that villainy. I loved that. Not to mention the scene where Swarm grabs onto Yaz. I literally shouted. I was so scared for her, and my heart, I thought it was about to beat out of my chest. I was just you need to let my girl go. Okay, I was so scared for her. I was I can't even describe things in an articulate way because this episode was just so crazy. So I'm like trying to be professional, trying to give a good articulate review, but I'm just so excited and so hyped up from that episode that it's hard, really, like genuinely. And lastly, that cliffhanger. Oh my god. I just talked about how scary Azure and Swarm are, and that fear that they instill within me, and that just villainy that they bring to the show, and that just all of it. And in that cliffhanger, again, I knew a cliffhanger was coming. I knew it was gonna happen. It's a serial, but like I was still on the edge of my seat, like what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, and what am I gonna have to wait to see resolved next week? And then like Yaz and Vinder weren't there, and I was like, okay. I was like, what'd you do? What'd you do to them? I was so scared, and then they showed up as like the people on the side with the stuff on their face, and I was like, oh, like, oh, what happened? And then just that countdown. When they started counting down, I was literally like shaking, and you'll see my reaction because I did manage to film my reaction again this time, but I was just like, I was shaky. I was like, no, like, what are you gonna do? What's gonna happen? And then it just cuts off with the snap, and I was like, no way. Like, the whole episode was just fantastic. This episode kept me on the edge of my seat. I was so excited for it, and I was so interested to see what happens, and that feeling just carried throughout the entire episode. Like, there wasn't a single moment where I was like, okay, let's keep going, you know, like, I was just constantly, like, immersed, and I loved that. One thing I really want to say is that I really wish that Chris Chibnall had done this serial type format from the get-go, because he is shining in this season so far. This season is excellent, and this is some of the best 13th Doctor content we've gotten so far. And I am so happy that it is so great. And like I said, you know, kudos to Chris Chibnall, because this is some of his best work right here, and I just feel so privileged to see it. And yeah, it's been really great, and I think he really shines with the serial format as opposed to the every adventure. Yeah, I love Chibnall's work this season, and I am so excited to see where he takes this next. Like, it's so hard to like describe. I am just so excited to see it. Lastly, I want to point out, so I made a tweet on my Twitter, as you do on Twitter, about how I had no idea who Mary Seacole was. I didn't know what the Crimea War is, because United States history classes are so United States centric. And so I literally was like going into this historical story like, what even is this? And I love that. I love Doctor Who historicals because I often don't really know a whole lot about what they cover or the times that they visit, the events that happen. And it's always nice to learn about it from Doctor Who, because it's like you can learn history and aliens are there. Like, what's better than that? Now, I didn't manage to capture my whole reaction, but I did definitely manage to capture my reaction to that insane cliffhanger, and I'll show that now. No, what's going on?
Talking of time, the Doctor returns next Sunday.
No!
Time of 6:30.
So there you have it. You can tell I was a little bit shocked by that cliffhanger, and I'm a little bit on edge by it still. And I want to know what you guys thought, not just about the cliffhanger, but about that episode. I want to thank you guys for your support on my first part of the review. It was great talking with you guys in the comments, and it was great to have such a warm welcome back to YouTube, and I'm happy that I can do it again this week. And I'd love to talk to you guys, love to hear what you thought about the episode, and what you're looking forward to next. So if you want to have a chat about that, you can leave a comment below or check out my Twitter. If you like this video, you can leave a like, maybe subscribe to my channel. But you don't have to do that. I'm just here to hang out and have fun, and you should be too. I hope you're all enjoying this current season, and most importantly, I hope you're staying safe, happy and healthy, have an excellent night, day, whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you later.